So, Sieg, thank you for talking to me and the students at the University of Waterloo. I know that your experience at Sleep Country is going to be of great interest to them, and especially today as we're still in the midst of COVID, and that clearly is a new time where we're learning a lot, and we're going to learn a lot, I hope, from what you say today. So I thought what I would do, but to start, was just ask you to talk about your role as the Senior Vice President of Operations for Sleep Country, and to describe the areas that you're responsible for.
For sure. Well, Peter, thanks for having me, and I feel very fortunate to be able to speak to the students at University of Waterloo. And in my role as Senior Vice President of Operations for Sleep Country, I oversee 5 key areas. The areas would be, first and foremost, supply chain, warehousing, delivery, customer service, and inspection. Interesting part is I'm an individual that wears many hats. And again, it's a very integrated approach to how operations and our infrastructure is being managed to support our customers.
As you do your job, what are the elements that are most strategically important to you? Where do you focus your time to ensure you get the best results from the work that you do?
Yeah, I think at Sleep Country, the one area that we've constantly focused on and we will continue to focus on moving forward is our customer-centric approach to our operations. And what we try to do is we want to make sure that we service the customer the way that they want to be serviced. So I've been with Sleep Country. I'm going now into my 21st year. I've been here for quite some time. There was always the philosophy that how do you service the customer the way they want to be serviced? And what we've done is we've evolved our practices in those different functional areas that I've shared with you to make sure that that customer experience is of key importance. So when we talk about on the home delivery side, we like to have a concept that we share. We love the concept of the kind of the power of one. So it's one delivery, one time. If we're going to be delivering a product to you, we want to make sure that we deliver it to you accurately. You have all the products on your order. You receive it on the day that you wanted it, and during the time frame that we've communicated to you. As well, in regards to our e-commerce business, we want to make sure that we provide a timely e-commerce parcel delivery to the customer. And what we would be looking at is making sure that we get that product to the customer within a maximum, of about 2 days.
Yeah, and that certainly fits with what we teach at Waterloo, basing the design of operations on meeting the expectations of the customer and the processes you would go through to do that. So to emphasize that the customer is at the heart of the operational activity, I think is extremely important. COVID-19 is impacting business still dramatically today. But hopefully things will be improving soon. But how has it impacted the operations at Sleep Country? What have you been doing to deal with COVID-19?
Yeah, I think COVID-19 has, I'm going to say revolutionized the way the customer feels they need to be serviced. When you think about the fact that when we had our first wave of COVID-19, all of the retail locations were closed, with the exception of essential retail. And an organization like Sleep Country, which isn't deemed essential, however, we do have an e-com supply chain, what we were able to do is really focus our energies on our e-commerce channel to the point where I think all organizations understood the power of e-commerce, the need to make sure that they were improving the way that they were servicing customers. And I will share with you from the onset of COVID-19, where we saw a dramatic increase on online orders and requirements to where we are today, was exceptionally impactful in regards to our service level times reduced significantly. The way that we communicated and interacted with our customers that made these orders was improved. And as well, we've actually launched a Dreamline team where we have sleep experts that are servicing our customers online to meet their needs, to give them a better online experience, which will translate to a better night's sleep.
And that's quite a big change from, I know that you had some online capability before, or with some e-commerce capability before, but you've moved much more fully in that direction during COVID, is my sense of what you're saying.
Absolutely. We had to, again, when you have volumes that increase in the area of 14 times more than what you've processed in the past, all of a sudden you need to, from an operational standpoint, make sure you're meeting your service times to your customers. And we were very fortunate as well with our providers that were assisting us with parcel deliveries. We had to change our expectations from a Monday to Friday type operation to where we were looking at how do we get service 7 days a week, especially in our urban markets where e-com became a very big volume generator and a requirement that our customers wanted. So that was one piece from the operational end. With the increased volume, how do you service your customers on time, and in some cases reduce the cycle lead time to them? The interesting part with that, though, is based on the products that we do have, especially our bed-in-the-box product and our traditional mattresses, we actually created a Dreamline team where we have sales experts, and we call them our sleep experts, that are able to provide you with a very good approach in regards to understanding what your sleep ailment is, what you're looking for, and ideally we would love you to try the product, but what we're providing is we're providing that service over the phone, and we feel very good that we've provided this additional element of service that distinguishes us differently than a number of our competitors.
So I can talk to Sleep Country to find out how I can get the best sleep.
Absolutely. And what would happen, Peter, is if you had a problem, if you noticed when you were sleeping on your side that you're having difficulties with your shoulder falling asleep, you'd have someone that has been trained in regards to qualifying you for the correct product to assist you with your particular ailment that you have that impedes your sleep.
Fabulous, and maybe especially useful today as COVID apparently means people are finding it more difficult to sleep. So you would imagine that there might be quite the demand for that type of service.
Absolutely. What we've noticed is people are focusing a lot on, I'm going to call the pillars of health, which are, nutrition, exercise, and sleep. And we've been very fortunate. We are very passionate about sleep. We are focusing on sleep well, stay well. And we think, especially in this time where, it is a challenging time. In a lot of cases, we're isolating. It's challenging from a mental health perspective. Having a good night's sleep will not only provide you with a healthy body, if you use proper sleep hygiene or sleep protocols as you go to sleep, we also want to make sure that you have a healthy mind as well. So that's really important to us.
Wonderful. And You talk about focusing your efforts on the customer. As things have changed with COVID, you will have been watching closely what the how the customers' behavior is changing, or their desires for how they would be serviced. How do you manage that? How is it that you gain that knowledge of what the customer is now wanting?
Yeah, I think COVID-19 has created a situation where there's a lot of concern with safety. And we pride ourselves in our final mile delivery. And what we do is, one of our services, we provide a free delivery to you. We'll actually bring the product into your home, into the most intimate part of your house, your bedroom. We'll remove the packaging, we'll set it up. If you have any product that you'd like to have recycled or diverted from landfill or donated to charities that require it, we'll take it. So we'll take it, we'll put it in plastic, we'll bring it out of the home. But we're in your home, and it's a very intimate space that we're going into. So it was very important for us to have strong COVID-19 protocols. So in the morning, when we're interacting with our customers, we would ask questions pertaining to COVID-19, how they're feeling. If they weren't feeling well, we'd reschedule. The practices at our distribution centers before our employees come in, they actually have to do self-screening and making sure that they're healthy and well to complete deliveries or to work in our warehouse. Also, we wear face masks. Unfortunately, I don't have my face mask on now, but I do have it. My hands have never been cleaner than they are now. We sanitize and we make sure we use proper protocol with sanitizing. Social distancing, making sure that we're adhering to social distancing and not putting ourselves at risk. Knock on wood, we've had COVID-19 cases, but no outbreaks. However, we have been very cautious and very focused on making sure that if we provide a really safe environment for our associates, that will translate to a very safe environment for our customers. And what we've seen is, we aren't perfect. However, what we do, we take it very seriously. And what we have been able to do is gain the trust of our customers and be able to service them well.
And I can testify to your good service. It wasn't during COVID, but 5 years ago, where I had my most recent bed delivered, and we were moving into the house on the same day. And so it was very important that Sleep Country turned up on time. They were able to work in the chaos of the move into the house. And that all worked, like clockwork. It was not something we had to worry about. And made a good night's sleep the first night in our new house. So that was, I was very pleased with what Sleep Country were able to do. What I also am keen to understand is your supply chain. So you've talked about the care that is taken with the customer, but on the other side, you're working with suppliers who are, providing you with beds and the other supplies that you get. Can you talk a bit about how that's managed and, how you collaborate with your suppliers?
A great question. And the words that I'd use in regards to how we work with our vendor partners is partnership and also collaboration. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to interact with our vendors, our major mattress and foundation vendors, as well as our accessory vendors annually. In some cases, based on the size of the vendor, we'll meet with them more frequently. And what we have is we have some great KPIs that we work on together. So vendor service level, how they service our distribution centers. And the other piece that we do is we also measure, if there's any challenges with products that have been delivered to us. Are they damaged? Is there some type of imperfection or flaw? And our vendors are great to work with us. If we do find product that's damaged, they'll return it back. We do that 2 times a year. So we have mid-year reviews and annual reviews. And I remember when we had the first wave of COVID-19, we really wanted to ensure that communication was very clear and transparent between Sleep Country and our vendors. And the one thing we didn't want our vendors to do is if they had a scenario where they had challenges with COVID-19, that there was a failure to disclose, because that can happen from time to time. Our vendor partners were great. They were fully transparent. So if they had an issue or an outbreak, we were aware of it. And immediately we could understand what type of impact it would have to the supply chain. And if we needed to extend our service levels to our customers, we could communicate that in advance. So I found through COVID-19, based on the reliance and the communication and collaboration we had to have with one another, our supply chain has become stronger, and our relationships with our vendors have become deeper because we felt this sense of we're in this together, and if we're in this together, let's make sure that we solution it together.
And what you are describing there is that you have good processes in place before COVID for working with your suppliers. You had measurement there, a regular review and collaboration to focus on problems, and that was all very well organized, which meant that when COVID came along, you had an infrastructure, a communications network there that was able to effectively deal with that and to incorporate the elements that would be important during COVID, especially, communication around, outbreaks and disruptions in the supply chain.
Yeah, and it was really critical because I felt badly for the vendors, because when you think of a mattress or a foundation, and there are a number of components that are sourced not only in North America, also offshore. And if there was any disruption to the supply chain, which there were many during COVID-19, it's having that open conversation, being adaptable. And it was interesting to see how a number of our vendors actually modified their supply chain and ensured that they had North American solutions to what was required.
Very interesting. It sounds like the experience of COVID may have had a positive impact. The relationships I hear were good before COVID and things worked well, but it almost sounds like they may work even better afterwards because of the experience that you've had.
Yeah, I would say yes. We have, in the operations area, we have a continuous improvement philosophy. And what we'll always look at is if there's a problem and we're actioning a problem, we'll come up with a solution. And then what we'll do is we'll try to optimize the solution. And it's the concept of the power of many minds. By having more inputs and more divergent thinking and being inclusive to those thoughts, what we find is we can come up with a much better solution than what we originally intended. So a lot of great learnings. And again, kudos to our vendors and our product supply team on how well they managed through that very difficult time, especially through the first lockdown.
You've talked about the care that is taken within people's houses, but the other part of the supply chain that we've not talked about yet is that a period time between the warehouse and the customer, I guess, where your distribution network from your receipt of the mattress to the delivery of it, or other sleep products to their delivery to the customer.
Yeah, and I would say to you, I think the key thing is what we find is when a customer comes to our store, so Peter, when you shared your experience 5 years ago, you went to the location and they would give you a date when you can anticipate that your product would be available. During COVID-19, one of the things that we had focused on, we recognized that finished goods would be difficult to source. So we made the decision that we were going to bring in more goods. So as opposed to being just in time, we had more extensive stocking programs in place to ensure that we could service the customer based on the inability to understand whether or not the supply chains that our vendors were working with could service us to the degree that we wanted to. So we made a decision to carry more inventory, have more inventory available for our customer. And the intention of that was to ensure that the service level from when they ordered the product to when they received it would not be impacted dramatically. The other thing that we did is we really honed in on, what are some of the services that we do provide that would be impacted by COVID-19? And one of them is our 100-day comfort guarantee program, where if you buy one of our products or one of our mattresses or sleep sets and you're not comfortable with it, you have the ability to return the product and you can reselect. That's a key program for us. What we had to do is we needed to make sure that our quality assurance program met the requirements of COVID-19. So when one of these products came back to our distribution center, we would isolate it for 48 hours. At that point, we would sanitize the product and clean the product. We would then repackage it into new mattress bags, etc. And then we would make it available for resale. So something that we had in place that we felt was a good protocol became an exceptional protocol based on the requirements of the new environment or the new normal we were in.
And of course, all of that is, takes a lot of time and effort to be able to change your existing processes and put these new processes in place. Presumably, if you're holding more inventory, that requires activity and space inside your warehouses. And similarly, if you're holding returns for longer before they're being processed, that you can imagine that could be quite disruptive.
Absolutely. We had to adapt, we had to shift, we had to pivot. And again, ultimately what it did mean by having more product on hand, by having these enhanced protocols for return product or product that we would bring back and have for resale, it did put a strain on the space in our distribution centers, and it was challenging. It wasn't easy. We worked through the challenges, and we made sure that now, as we have come out of, I'm going to say, the worst, hopefully.
We hope so.
Hopefully. We've got a better understanding, and we've created new metrics in regards to how we measure our cubic square footage in our DCs. What is our availability? Do we need to have off-site storage locations, off-site trailers? And we adapted, we shifted, and I'm happy to say that we serviced our customers based on the focus that they had on getting better sleep products. And we saw, if you look at our quarterly results, we saw quite a nice surge in business, and we were able to meet the requirements of our customers. Not perfect. However, we feel that as we work through COVID-19 and the new normal, we're just getting better at what we're doing and at applying that continuous improvement philosophy to the work that we're doing, especially in our warehouses.
Yeah, what I'm hearing in the questions we've discussed so far is that this was a period to learn from. The adaptation that you had to do for COVID will have learnings that are useful well beyond COVID itself. It's really quite interesting to listen to what you've got to say from that point of view.
Yeah, I think, Peter, what it does is COVID-19 had made you reevaluate how you approached your business, how you ran your operations, how your supply chain would function. And actually, even with our customer service area, they have done a phenomenal job, not only with respect to our level of service, however, integrating a Dreamline opportunity with our sleep experts and enhancing the way that we can service the customer. When you have this type of occurrence, it causes you to reevaluate and understand what you can do differently. And it's sometimes difficult when, and I'm going to use the expression, the little Dutch boy, when you have 17 leaks in the dike and you're trying to cover all the leaks, you won't be able to do all of them. Understand which one is the biggest, focused on that one, and then go to the next one. And we've been very fortunate. We have a great team here, very passionate people. They care about our customers, and I'm very proud of what the product supply operations and customer service teams had accomplished during a very challenging time.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you about the new entrants in the sleep business. We've seen a lot of advertising of mattresses in a box. They come rolled up in a box. You've got your own mattress in a box as well. How is online retail impacting Sleep Country, and what does that mean for your operations?
Yeah, well, we approach it a little bit differently. So the bed in the box phenomena that really started with Casper making I'm going to say a splash, so to speak, in the U.S. market, and then coming to Canada. Obviously, it caused the mattress industry and retailers to reevaluate how we want to approach the bed in the box product. The bed in the box product isn't new. It's been in existence for, I'm going to say, I remember 15 years ago seeing some different prototypes of this product. However, there wasn't that application toward that online consumer that you could deliver it very conveniently, etc. That became the norm. The nice thing is at Sleep Country, you can go online, and not only do we offer our Bloom product, our bed in the box product that's exclusive to us, that we've developed for our customers. The interesting thing is we also now have been able to provide the option of traditional mattresses. So you not only would receive a bed in the box via our parcel delivery service, or if you'd like, we could deliver it to you in your home with our final mile delivery service. We've extended it to now with our distribution network. We've also incorporated the ability to order traditional mattresses via our website, where now you're not just limited to bed in the box. If you wanted a traditional mattress, you could receive that as well. So I think we've evolved from where initially when COVID-19 hit, we were only providing bed in the box product. Now, not only are we providing bed in the box product, we'll also give our customer the ability to receive traditional products, which is very fortunate for us.
So you have a full sleep service online as opposed to just a bed in a box.
Absolutely, and it's so critical that we have sleep experts to help you, that can provide you with the understanding of what your sleep ailment is, how we can assist you with getting a better night's sleep, and our subject matter experts on the product and what would work best for different customers. So again, very different than our original e-commerce, which was, it was, I'm going to say, it was just then through your computer. There was no interaction. You couldn't really get the responses that you require. By now having these sleep experts that can interact and dialogue with you and consult you in what you require, it's a much better customer experience.
And what you're describing almost seems to be, a good response from, you know, previously shop-based retail to the online providers that have emerged and strengthened during COVID,
Yeah.
by providing a full service experience that is, you know, more attuned to the desires and needs of the customer.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, when you think about it, SleepSet is a very tactile product. Our preference is you come to our stores, you try the product, and I still encourage that because it's such a personal purchase, and everybody has different sleep requirements and sleep ailments. We'd love you to have that. However, we could also provide you with a very good experience and provide you with a good consultative approach on via chat or via phone call to accomplish that. Maybe not to the same degree, again, but we would be able to replicate it fairly closely. However, we do encourage you to come to our stores to make your selection.
Well, the best bit is lying in the beds in the stores.
Yeah, it truly is, and that way you get the comfort level. You can try it, and however, having sleep experts support you online is very critical.
So, just to talk about that for a moment, the your retail physical store operations, they work very effectively. I remember when I went to get my bed, you know, I was able to go and lie on the bed. The service that I had was from the staff in the store, I thought was very good. They were very friendly. There wasn't a hard sell that I would be concerned about. So can you talk a little bit about how that is managed in Sleep Country, and you know, how do you ensure that that works as well as it does?
Yeah, you know, our belief is when a consumer is purchasing a product, you know, they're not going to visit Sleep Country for the sake of just looking at beds. It's a planned purchase. There's a requirement. There's a need for the consumer to visit our locations. So it is a planned purchase. You're going to be making a decision. Our belief is we want to focus entirely on the customer. We want to understand what their ailment is, what they would, where they're having challenges with their sleep, and also we highly recommend that you bring your partner because again, we want to get the proper support or comfort level for both individuals. And it's truly a consultative approach. It's understanding what your ailment is, if you have an ailment, and providing education in regards to what are the various options you have to make sure that you can remedy that, and then having the type of selection that is exclusive and unique to Sleep Country that can really meet that requirement. So very consultative approach. It's not a again, some retailers that you go to, it may be a harder sell. What we want to do is we just want to help you get a better night's sleep and help you sleep well and stay well.
And that works very well.
Yep.
So many organizations are trying to become more innovative today. You've described innovation during COVID. To what extent is innovation on a continuing basis becoming more important to Sleep Country, and how do you manage that?
Yeah, my opinion is innovation drives growth. And again, I think about the enhancements that were done to our e-commerce experience with our Dreamline and that consultative sleep experts that can support the consumer. I also think, though, that innovation, we've also developed a number of partnerships with other retailers. So if you'd like to purchase one of our bed-in-the-box products, you can go to Walmart and you'll see our Bloom product being sold with another retailer. We've also developed other relationships with organizations in the US, such as Purple, Maloof, that have a unique product proposition that isn't available in Canada. And we think it's really important to have the best products, the most innovative products, the products that have an environmentally friendly story, because we all know there's a lot of emphasis on our environment and organizations that are corporately responsible. That's very important to us, and we want to make sure that as we drive innovation, not only will we drive innovations with our different retail partners, our different suppliers, the longer term hope is we also want to make sure that we innovate in a way that we're supporting our environmental, social, and governance responsibilities as a retailer and as an organization.
At the beginning of what you were saying there, you talked particularly about your relationships with partners and the way that those enabled innovation to happen. That seems like something very valuable for the students to take note of. The importance of working with others and forming relationships that are going to allow you to innovate and change more quickly than if you did it on your own. But of course, your comments about the environment and corporate responsibility are also extremely important today and more of a feature of operations and supply chain activity.
Yeah, well, especially as we move forward, I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis on packaging, waste, green buildings or green facilities. How are you managing your carbon emissions, your carbon footprint? And I think as we go forward, you need to start that early in the conversation of partnership, because it's amazing when you start working together. And I'll give you an example of an organization where we had corrugate packaging, plastic, and these products were they had all this protective packaging around it to make sure there was no damage to it. We reevaluated it, we looked at it, and we worked with this particular vendor, and we eliminated the corrugate that they had on the product by introducing a plastic that was more durable and had a different thickness than what they had used in the past. By doing this change, not only did we eliminate all the corrugate of this product, we were actually able to save that particular manufacturer about $14 on average per unit. And that was not only a savings to them, it was a partial savings to us, because now we didn't have to worry about the corrugate, handling it, baling it, and sending it to our different recyclers. What I think is you need to have those conversations to come up with better solutions. And I would really encourage the students not to work in isolation. The more you can work in conjunction with your supplier base, and if you can get aligned goals in regards to where you want to go in the future, it can be very powerful.
Great example, of course, of something that benefits the environment, but is also, from a cost point of view, a good thing to do.
It is. When you can do those, Peter, it's magic. And again, you'd be surprised with creative minds and diverse thinking and looking at a problem and coming up with various solutions and understanding what options you have available. You'd be amazed at what you can come up with. And I think I would encourage the students, as they're looking at operations management and kind of understanding the supply chain and how everything integrates together. It's really important too to make sure that there's a lot of interaction with or other departments, the merchandising department that selects the product. I would also say the marketing department, in terms of how they're going to be promoting these goods, because consumers do want to purchase products that have less of an environmental impact in regards to society in general. So I think there's a lot of learnings there, and again, I've been fortunate to see that over my tenure with Sleep Country. However, the example that I provided you, this one did not happen that far long ago. It was relatively recently that we did it, and again, it was a win-win. Just making sure that we're collaborating and working together.
How is technology impacting your operations today? We hear a lot about digital transformation. What has been happening there at Sleep Country?
Yeah, over the course of time, as I had said, I've been with Sleep Country for over 20 years. And when I think back to when I first joined Sleep Country, a lot of our processes were manual. So when we received product, we didn't use RF receiving or RF scanning technology at all. We actually would look at the product and we print off labels, and hopefully we had a good eye to distinguish a queen mattress from a double mattress and not get them mixed. Looking at the map behind you, Peter, we used to have a big map for the regions where we did deliveries, and all of our deliveries were plotted on a map, and now we have routing software that does it for us relatively seamlessly with appropriate delivery travel times between stops. We understand how long it'll take to set up a delivery, and we'll optimize that route by making sure we go the most efficient pattern. You talked about e-commerce. I think the big opportunity is in e-commerce is, tracking your delivery, understanding where it is, when it's going to be delivered to you. We're also going through a major ERP project. So ERP is Enterprise Resource Planning system. We're changing it to a new one, which is going to allow us to drive efficiencies and set us up for success for the future capabilities we'd like to have. So I think technology is a key part. You need to be current. And the nice thing is the whole idea of artificial intelligence, AI, and looking at data and looking at, I'm going to call it consistent patterns, and how that is going to change the world of operations, which is very exciting. And I think it's going to allow us to operate better. However, if it's used and applied with consumers, understand what type of patterns they have as well. And hopefully, they're not going to be purchasing a mattress every 5 years, Peter. I hope you're looking for a mattress soon. Anyways, that might not be the case, but we just want to make sure we have more data to help our operations run better and our entire DC and store network.
Just two questions left. The first one is project management seems to be becoming a bigger part for some organizations of what they do operationally. So projects become more frequent, larger perhaps. I'm interested in the approach that you take to project management at Sleep Country and the role it plays in your operational activity.
Yeah, project management is critical to running a good operations. I think that in a lot of organizations, they mandate that the understanding and methodology is put in place. We've been quite fortunate that through our training that we had with our continuous improvement initiatives, we have models of project management that we utilize to support us. And it is very critical to understand the roles within project management and also the methodology that's required to achieve the outcome. Because right now we're in the midst of an ERP project. There are multiple modules that we're launching across our entire system. And with that, we've been working on this journey. It's been a little bit disrupted with COVID-19 for about a year and a half. Project methodology is used throughout. And also not only project management, also some other learnings are when you introduce a project, What type of impact will it have on the users? So change management is also a critical component of that. Then understanding your different, I'm going to say, processes that you do use in your current environment versus your new environment, and understanding how they change, how they will be impacted. And again, having that as a foundation is very important to be successful in operations moving forward.
Absolutely, and many pieces of advice that students could take from your comments on project management. It's it would take us a little while to go through it and list all of those, but I think there are many things there they could learn, and I would advise them to think carefully about what you just said there. As far as the students are concerned, this is my last question. They're going to be moving on, some of them perhaps, to go on to an operations management role. Do you have any final words of advice for them as they move on with their careers?
Yeah. Well, I think in the operations management area now, what they're going to find is the world has changed. There's multiple ways to service customers. It's not just traditional warehousing delivery that is going to be completed. It's going to be warehousing to service multiple channels, retail channels, e-commerce channels, omni-channels. And, the neat thing is that's happening now as well as not even going through the operations network of a traditional retailer, going direct from the actual manufacturer to the consumer. So dropship programs, how can we make sure that customer gets the product directly from the manufacturer as opposed to extending the cycle time in the supply chain? So dynamic, changing, growing. I think Amazon has really caused operations to reevaluate how they do things, because what used to take 2 weeks to get done is now getting done in less than 24 hours. So exciting, dynamic area, an area that is going to have a lot of emphasis. And where I'm situated in our head office in Brampton, Ontario, there are distribution centers and hubs being built around us. And a lot of the different organizations that are there are e-commerce organizations that really require that operational expertise. And I see it growing and becoming stronger. And I think if you want a dynamic area to work in that is going to cause you to stretch and grow and change, operations management, particularly going into the next several years as we move out of COVID-19 and we've created this elevated level of service for the customer, it'll only get better. So I really encourage the students, if you like a fast-paced job, if you're a lifelong learner, if you want to see new ways of how technology will be applied, such as AI, into the operations area, as well, if you like that concept of project management, because you're going to need to have projects you're going to need to establish projects in order to accomplish some of these advancements that you have. Very exciting area to look at.
I think so too. The future is extremely exciting from an operations point of view. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me today, Sieg. I really appreciate it. I know that the students at the University of Waterloo are going to benefit hugely from it.
Great. Well, thank you, Peter, and students, for having me and allowing me to share my thoughts and experiences with you. And I hope everybody is staying safe, be healthy, use your COVID-19 protocols as we work through this all together, and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Sieg.
Thanks, Peter.